The Galactic Council's border zone was always quiet. For years, patrol ships had moved in slow circles, checking empty space, tracking peaceful cargo ships, and watching for small pirates who sometimes tried their luck. Nothing exciting ever happened here. Most officers called it the sleep zone because a patrol shift felt as slow as frozen time. But on this day, everything changed. Inside Border Station 7, a young officer named Lyra watched her screen with half-open eyes. She had worked 3 long shifts and she expected this one to be just as boring. A cargo ship passed by and she marked it in the log. 2 mining drones returned from the asteroid belt, and she wrote that down too. Everything was normal. Then her screen blinked, just once. A small red dot appeared near the restricted line. Lyra frowned and tapped the screen. Usually a red dot meant a sensor glitch, maybe a space rock, maybe some lost satellite. But when she tapped again, the dot grew bigger, brighter, and began to move fast. Her heartbeat rose. This was not normal. "Commander," Lyra called, trying to keep her voice calm. "You should see this." Commander Jorak walked over with slow steps. He was an old reptilian officer who had seen many strange things in space. He didn't scare easily, but when he looked at the screen, his expression changed. "What is that?" he whispered. The object was large, very large, and it was crossing the borderline without any permission. Jorak zoomed in. The shape became sharper but still unclear. Too big for a pirate ship, too fast for a cargo vessel, too heavy to be a civilian craft. "It might be a battleship," Lyra said quietly. Jorak shook his head. "No council species builds ships this shape." The officers around them stopped working and watched the screen too. The object kept coming. The scanner refreshed again. This time the image was sharp. Everyone in the room went silent. It was a human warship. A huge, capital-class human warship, black and angular, with long glowing engines and weapon ports across its hull. A ship that never came this deep into council territory. A ship that should never be here at all. "Sound the alarm," Jorak ordered. Lights flashed red across the station. Klaxons echoed through the halls. Officers rushed to their stations, shouting reports, checking weapons, calling nearby patrol fleets. A human battleship crossing the border was not a small event. It was a crisis. Within minutes, the Galactic Council received the alert. Across hundreds of light years, leaders of 42 species were woken from sleep, pulled out of meetings or dragged out of private chambers. Screens lit up in dozens of council rooms. Advisors whispered in fear. Are the humans invading? Why did the Terran fleet send a warship? Is this a mistake? A threat? A warning? No one knew. Inside Council Hall 3, the highest-ranking members gathered in emergency session. Every race looked tense. The tall crystalline Avalari stood stiff, their bodies glowing faintly. The fur-covered Vren kept shifting nervously in their seats. Even the giant armored Zothkar warriors, known for their bravery, looked uneasy. Humans had a reputation. They were strong, bold, unpredictable, and their warships were dangerous even when only one appeared. Councillor Marith, a thin insectoid being, spoke first. "This cannot be an accident. Humans never cross the borderline. There must be a reason." "But what kind of reason brings a battleship?" another councillor asked. The room grew colder. Meanwhile, the warship came closer to Border Station 7. Lyra felt her hands shaking as she zoomed the camera in. The ship was damaged. Not lightly damaged. Deep cuts and burn marks covered its surface. Several engines flickered. Shield emitters sparked. Something terrible had hit this ship, something strong enough to break a Terran warship. Jorak noticed the damage too. What were they fighting? No one answered. The communication panel beeped. Everyone stared at it. "Is that a message?" Lyra asked. Jorak nodded slowly. "Answer it." The screen blipped. A human face appeared, tired, sharp-eyed, covered in small cuts. His uniform looked burned on one side. Behind him, flickering warning lights glowed inside the ship. "This is Captain Elias Reyes of the Terran Alliance," the human said. His voice was calm but heavy, like someone carrying a great burden. "We are entering your zone. Do not interfere." Then the screen shut off. Lyra looked at Jorak, eyes wide. "That's all?" Jorak nodded. Humans never waste words, but why are they here? Why alone? Why damaged? No one could answer. Inside the council hall, Captain Reyes's message played again and again. Each time the room grew more tense. Councillor Marith tapped the table. "We must block them. Their ship is unstable and they refuse to explain. Block them, shouted a Vren diplomat. That is a human dreadnought. If we block it, they may think we want to fight. They crossed our border first. They are injured. Should we not help? What if they bring danger behind them? Arguments exploded. Panic spread. No one could agree. Back at Border Station 7, the human ship continued forward. It was slow, wounded, and dragging some kind of strange energy wake behind it. Blue sparks leaked from its damaged engines. The metal hull hummed like it was under great pressure. Lyra watched the strange readings on her screen. Commander, something is wrong with that energy signature. I've never seen anything like it. Jorak looked closer and frowned. Neither have I. This ship is carrying something. And whatever it is, it's powerful. For a moment, the entire station felt the same fear. Humans did not break rules. They did not enter protected zones. They did not run, unless something worse was behind them. And the border scanners suddenly detected a faint tear in space, a warped shadow, something following the warship from far behind. Lyra whispered, "Commander, something else is coming." Jorak felt a chill. "Prepare all defenses. Call the council again. This is not normal human behavior." The human warship kept moving, silent and wounded, and everyone in the galaxy held their breath. Border Station 7 felt heavier as the human warship moved deeper into council space. Officers who were calm a few minutes ago now breathed like the air had thickened. Lyra kept watching her screens, afraid to blink. The strange tear in space behind the warship flickered like a dark wound in reality. The scanners couldn't read it properly. Every time they tried, the numbers broke, glitched, or shook violently. "Commander," Lyra said in a soft but tense voice, "the space around that tear is unstable. It feels alive." Commander Jorak didn't answer at first. He simply stared at the readings as if trying to understand something he didn't want to believe. Finally, he said, "Whatever is following that warship didn't come here by choice. It's hunting them." Lyra swallowed hard. "Commander, what if it reaches us?" Jorak kept his eyes on the shadow. "Then we pray the humans know what they are doing." Messages kept arriving from the Galactic Council. They wanted updates every second. They wanted new scans. They wanted explanations that no one had. Every time Lyra said the same thing. The human warship is not slowing down. The tear in space is getting bigger. The shadow is still following. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, fear had already replaced logic. Council members shouted across the room. A projection of the human warship hovered in the air, labeled with red marks showing the damage. Another projection showed the unstable tear behind it. "It looks like a living storm," one diplomat said. "No," replied another. "It looks like something trying to break through." A tall crystalline Avalari elder stepped forward, her body glowing faintly blue. "Humans do not run," she said calmly. "If they are running now, it means something terrifying is behind them. What if they bring that terror to us?" A Vren shouted. "What if they lose control?" Councillor Marith raised all four of his thin arms. "Enough. We need information, not fear." He sent a direct order to Border Station 7. "Hail the human warship again. Demand to know what they are carrying." Back at the station, Lyra jumped as the order flashed on her screen. "Commander, they want us to contact the humans." Jorak sighed and rubbed his forehead. "They won't like it. But we must try." He opened a channel. "Terran warship, this is Commander Jorak of Border Station 7. The Council requests clarification. You are crossing protected space. You must explain your purpose." Silence. Lyra felt her heart race. Then, after a long moment, the screen activated. Captain Reyes appeared again, looking even more exhausted than before. The lights behind him flickered. Sparks flew occasionally. Smoke drifted through the air. "This is not the time," Reyes said sharply. "Do not hail us again." Jorak tried to stay calm. "Captain, the Council demands—" Reyes cut him off. "The Council doesn't understand the danger behind us. That thing—" He stopped suddenly. His eyes widened. He turned his head toward someone off-screen and shouted, "Shields up, now!" The transmission ended instantly. Lyra and Jorak stared at each other. A second later, the shadow behind the warship grew larger. The space around it twisted like it was melting. Every alarm in the station activated at once. The view screen shook. "Commander," Lyra cried. "The tear is expanding." The tear ripped open in a sudden burst of dark energy. A wave hit the entire station. Lights flickered. Screens glitched. The officers grabbed onto tables. "Stabilize power," Jorak shouted. In the darkness outside, something massive moved inside the tear. Not fully visible, but its outline was enough to freeze every heart. A creature, or a machine, or something between both. Huge, silent, hungry. It looked like a shadow with shape but no face, like darkness wearing armor. Its movements were slow but powerful, like a beast that did not fear anything. It followed the human warship with patient steps, as if the distance between them did not matter. Lyra whispered, "What is that thing?" No one answered. Inside Council Hall, the new readings arrived. The room fell completely silent. Even the strongest species froze. The fear was universal. It broke through the fabric of space, someone said shakily. No creature should be able to do that. Humans brought it here. No, the Avalari Elder said softly. Humans are trying to stop it. Commander Jorak's voice came through the hall speakers. Council, the creature has entered our territory. We have never seen anything like this. The human warship is engaging it. The hall exploded with voices. Engaging it? Alone? We must send a fleet. Send a fleet to help the humans? Send a fleet to stop both of them. The arguments repeated like a storm. Meanwhile, the human warship activated its shields. Bright blue light surrounded the damaged hull. Energy crackled along the shield barrier. Captain Reyes's ship turned, putting itself directly between the creature and the Council's border. The creature opened its mouth, if it even had a mouth. It looked more like a crack in reality than a living thing. A low vibration filled the entire region. It felt like the universe was shaking. The creature fired something. Not a beam, not a missile, but a wave of pure force. It crushed asteroids and ripped nearby drones apart. The human warship fired back with everything it had. Blue and white beams shot across the dark void. Missiles streaked forward. Plasma cannons roared. Space lit up like a storm of suns. Jorak watched the battle with awe. They're buying us time, he said quietly. The humans are fighting alone. Lyra nodded, eyes wide. Commander, they came here for a reason. They're trying to protect us. The creature lunged forward again. The human ship was pushed back but didn't break. Inside Council Hall, Mareth whispered the thought everyone feared. If the humans lose, that thing will reach us next. The warship's hull glowed red from the heat of the attack. Sparks showered from its engines. But it held the line. Captain Reyes sent one message to the Council, a short, heavy message filled with simple truth. If we fall, run. Do not let this thing reach your worlds. And then the connection cut. The battle had only just begun. The battle between the human warship and the shadow creature shook the space around Border Station 7. Explosions flashed like angry stars. The creature struck again and again with waves of dark force, each one hitting the human shields with enough power to kill a lesser ship instantly. But the humans refused to fall. Inside the station, Lyra watched every second of the fight, her hands shaking while she tried to keep up with the data. Commander, their shields are dropping fast, Jorak nodded grimly. They cannot fight forever. Humans are strong, but even they have limits. The creature pushed forward. Its form was blurry and shifting like a nightmare trying to escape from the edge of reality. Every time it moved, the space around it twisted and screamed with energy. The human warship fired again, lighting up the darkness with a massive energy blast. The creature staggered. Its body fractured like cracks spreading across a dark mirror, but it didn't fall. Instead, it grew angrier. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, chaos ruled. Counselors argued louder than ever. Some wanted to help the humans. Some wanted to block the area. Others wanted to flee immediately. Counselor Mareth slammed his hands on the table. We cannot fight that thing. Only the humans seem to know anything about it. We don't know if they brought it, shouted Avren. They might be responsible. A crystalline Avalari elder shook her head gently. Humans do not hide from danger. If they wanted to harm us, they would not fight the creature alone. The hall grew quieter. The next moment, a single message came through the council's main screen. It wasn't a video. It wasn't even words. It was data, a code packet sent secretly from the human ship to the council. Commander, Lyra said from Border Station 7, the humans just sent us encrypted information. Should we open it? Jorak hesitated. If they sent it now, they want us to know something, he nodded. Open it. The data unfolded like a series of holograms, charts, and recordings. The first image was of a dark lab room. Human technicians in heavy armor stood around a containment chamber filled with swirling black energy. The chamber glowed red as if it held something alive. A voice recording started. "Captain Reyes, this is Research Log 7. The Rift entity is unstable. It reacts to human energy signatures more strongly than any other known species. We believe it follows us because our technology accidentally woke it." Lyra's eyes widened. They didn't bring it here on purpose. They were studying it. The recording continued. 2 days ago, containment failed. The entity broke free. It destroyed our escort ships. We trapped it again temporarily, but not for long. We must lead it away from human space, away from everyone. A cold silence filled the station. Jorak exhaled slowly. "They were trying to protect us from the beginning," Lyra whispered. "They crossed the border because they had no choice." Another recording started. Reyes again, sounding more exhausted. "We cannot kill it with normal weapons. It absorbs energy. It grows stronger with every attack. But we discovered one small weakness." Lyra leaned closer. Reyes continued. "The creature hesitates around quantum disruptor fields. Our ship has one left, but to use it we must overload the entire engine core." Jorak closed his eyes. "That would destroy their ship, and everything within a large radius," Lyra added softly. The recording ended. The truth was clear. The humans came into Council space to use their last weapon. They came here to make their final stand. Before Jorak could even speak, another shockwave hit the station. The creature launched a fresh attack. The human warship's shields broke completely. Blue sparks burst from the hull. Flames erupted from one of the side compartments. Inside the warship, the lights flickered as Captain Reyes stumbled into the command room. His uniform was scorched. His face was tired, but his eyes still burned with determination. "Status?" he demanded. "Shields gone. Engine core at 40%. Plasma cannons overheated," a bridge officer replied. Reyes nodded. "Prepare for core overload," the officer froze. "Sir, that will destroy us." Reyes stared at the creature outside. "If we don't stop that thing, it will destroy entire worlds." The officer nodded slowly and began working. Back in Council Hall, fear spread faster than sound. "They're going to blow themselves up." Someone shouted. "We must order them to stop. We must help them escape." "No," the Avalari elder said softly. "If the humans fail, we all die." Councillor Mareth finally made the decision. "Send every available patrol ship to evacuate the border zone. No one stays in range." At Border Station 7, Lyra felt her chest tighten. "Commander, the humans are preparing something big." "We must get out of here," Jorak said. "Order full retreat." "But what about them?" Lyra whispered. Jorak lowered his voice. "They knew what this mission meant when they crossed the border." Outside, the human warship turned its bow toward the creature. Energy began charging at the center of the ship. Glowing brighter and brighter, the creature lunged forward, preparing a final strike. Inside the warship, Reyes stood in the middle of the bridge. "Activate the field," he commanded. The ship hummed deeply. Lights grew brighter. Space itself trembled. The creature hesitated. For the first time, it showed fear. Reyes whispered, "Good. That means we still have a chance." He placed his hand on the console. "Trigger the overload." The screen went white, but the explosion didn't come yet. The ship glowed brighter, brighter still, pulling energy from every system. The council watched in total silence. Lyra covered her mouth with her hands. Jorak whispered, "Is this the end? Or the beginning?" The creature let out a horrible, distorted sound. Then the warship began to collapse inward, pulling everything toward its center, creating a storm of light. The final moment was coming. A human sacrifice to save the galaxy. The light forming around the human warship grew so bright that every camera in Border Station 7 went white. It was like a small star was being born inside a metal shell. Officers shielded their eyes. Lyra pushed her chair back, afraid the brightness would burn through the screen. "Commander, the human core is reaching critical," she shouted. Jorak nodded, voice tense. "They're seconds away from overload." Outside, space twisted like liquid. The creature tried to escape, spreading its limbs across the void. But the human ship kept dragging it in. The energy field pulled harder, tighter, as if trying to swallow the creature whole. Then came the shockwave. A blast of white-blue energy tore outward, hitting the border station like a giant hammer. Screens cracked. Alarms screamed. The whole structure shook violently. Lyra felt herself thrown sideways, her headset ripping free as she fell against the console. Power loss. Someone shouted, "We're losing gravity. Shut down all external feeds." Commander Jorak gripped the table to stay standing. "Report, what happened to the human ship?" Lyra crawled back into her chair, hands shaking as she forced the scanners back online. For a few seconds, everything was static, blurred, dead. But slowly the image returned. The space where the human warship had been was now a swirling cloud of glowing dust. Pieces of metal floated like broken stars. Fire burned silently in the vacuum. And the creature was gone, Lyra whispered. "They did it." "They really did it," Jorak didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the screen, because something didn't feel right. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, the atmosphere changed completely. All the arguing, the shouting, the panic, everything stopped at the moment the explosion happened. Council members watched the live feed in silence, their faces pale. "A Terran ship just gave its life," someone said softly. "For us," another added. Even the loudest critics of humanity had nothing left to say. But the silence did not last long. A new alarm appeared on the Council's main screen. Red lights glowed across the edges of the hologram. Councillor Marith leaned forward. "What now?" The screen zoomed in on the explosion zone. The swirling dust of the destroyed warship began to move unnaturally. It twisted, forming small rings of dark energy. The station sensors detected new pulses, faint but rising in strength. The Avalari Elder whispered, "The creature is not dead." Back at Border Station 7, Lyra gasped. "Commander, I'm getting readings again." "There's some kind of remaining signature." Jorak clenched his jaw. "Impossible. The human overload should have destroyed everything." "But it didn't," Lyra said. "Look at this." The scanners focused sharply. A few remaining sparks of dark energy gathered in a single spot. They swirled like a tiny storm, weak but alive. It wasn't the full creature, but it was a piece of it, a seed. Jorak realized the horrible truth. "It survived. Even a fragment of that thing is dangerous." Lyra's voice trembled. "Commander, the humans died for nothing?" "No," he replied quickly. "They weakened it. That might be the only reason this station is still standing." Another tremor hit the station. Panels fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered again. Lyra struggled to steady her voice. "Should we destroy that last fragment?" Jorak wanted to say yes, but he knew better. "We can't risk it. If it reacts to our weapons like before, it might grow again. We must inform the Council." He turned to the communication officer. "Open channel to the Council." Before the officer could respond, every screen in the station blinked. A new message appeared. Not from the Council, not from another patrol ship, from the Human Warship. Lyra stared, stunned. "Commander, that's impossible. The ship was destroyed, but the message existed plain and clear. A simple data packet. No video, no voice. Just a line of text. It's not over." "Stand by." Jorak felt cold. This must have been sent before the overload. But Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, sir. This was sent after the explosion. That should have been impossible." Council Hall erupted with panic again when they received the same message. Even the translation system glitched as if confused by the timing. Councillor Marith shouted, "How can a destroyed ship send a message?" The Avalari Elder placed a hand on the center hologram. "It was not the ship. Then who sent it?" Marith demanded. The Elder whispered, "The humans predicted this. They planned for more than one outcome." Back in the station, Lyra scanned the message details. Something was strange. "Commander, this message didn't come from the warship's usual communication relay. It came from a secondary device. Something much smaller." Jorak leaned closer. "Like what?" "A drone," Lyra said. "A Terran stealth drone. It survived the explosion." Before they could analyze further, the drone appeared on radar. A small metallic shape drifted silently near the edge of the blast zone. Its systems were damaged but still active. A faint blue light blinked underneath it. "It's moving," Lyra said. "Heading toward the fragment." Jorak's eyes widened. They left a backup plan. The drone approached the swirling fragment of dark energy. Panels opened on its sides, revealing a containment field. The drone expanded a shimmering cage around the fragment, trapping it inside a glowing sphere. The energy inside the sphere screamed silently. Thrashing against the barrier, the drone sent another message. Part secured. Awaiting extraction. Lyra couldn't believe it. They trapped the last piece of the creature. Jorak felt hope rising for the first time. Maybe humans aren't finished yet. But the hope faded quickly when Lyra checked the long-range sensors. Commander, something else is coming. Large signatures appeared on the edge of the sector. Fast, powerful, dozens of them. Jorak's voice dropped to a whisper. Reinforcements. Lyra nodded slowly, terrified. Human reinforcements. The moment Border Station 7 detected the incoming signals, the quiet inside the command room shattered. Dozens of bright signatures approached at incredible speed, cutting through space like burning comets. Lyra zoomed in on the scanner, her breath stopping as the images sharpened. Commander, these are Terran ships, many of them. Commander Jorak leaned forward, his eyes widening. Not just many. A full strike group. Human reinforcements, but something about them felt different. Their energy signatures were unstable, glowing too bright, as if their reactors were pushed far beyond normal limits. A faint trail of blue flame followed behind each ship, like they had traveled faster and harder than anything built for this region. Lyra felt goosebumps rise on her arms. Commander, I've never seen humans send this many combat ships into Council space. Neither had Jorak. This means something. Bigger is coming. He turned back to the live feed of the explosion zone. The Terran drone still held the last dark fragment inside its containment sphere. The fragment twisted violently, sending shockwaves across the energy field. The drone responded by reinforcing the cage with another layer of shimmering blue force. Even while dying, the creature still tried to break free. Lyra whispered, "If the humans came for that fragment, they must need it," Jorak nodded. "Or they must destroy it somewhere far from here." The first Terran ship arrived, a massive spear-shaped cruiser twice the size of the destroyed warship. Its hull glowed with fresh battle scars. Engines hummed like thunder. Lyra read its identification code. TSV Resolute, she said. A Terran heavy cruiser. One of their finest. Jorak's voice turned tense. If they sent the Resolute, they are not here for diplomacy. More ships emerged behind it. 3 destroyers, 2 frigates, and one enormous vessel that made even the cruiser look small. Lyra's eyes widened. Commander, that one? That is a Titan-class dreadnought. Jorak swallowed hard. Humans do not bring a Titan-class unless they expect a war. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, the hologram of the Terran fleet filled the air. Some council members panicked. Others froze in shock. They're invading. No, look at their weapons. They're charged. We cannot fight a Titan class. The Avalari elder raised a hand. Quiet, humans do not attack without cause. Something else is driving them. Councillor Marith pointed at the swirling dark fragment still trapped by the drone. They want that thing. But what will they do with it? No one had the answer. Back at Border Station 7, the Terran fleet slowed near the explosion zone. The huge Titan-class ship turned its hull, blocking the creature fragment from open space. Lyra noticed something strange on its surface. Patterns of glowing runes lined across its sides. Commander, that ship is modified. I've never seen a Terran vessel with markings like that. Neither have I, Jorak murmured. What did they build? A deep, heavy voice echoed through the station speakers. This is Admiral Varric of the Terran Alliance. Border Station 7, acknowledge. Jorak straightened instantly. This is Commander Jorak of the Galactic Council. We acknowledge. The Admiral wasted no time. Prepare your station for shockwaves. We are initiating Operation Dawnbreaker. Lyra blinked. Operation what? The Admiral continued. You must move all personnel to reinforced zones now. Jorak responded quickly. Admiral, we need information. What is Operation Dawnbreaker? What is your plan for that creature fragment? The Admiral's voice stayed steady. Our fallen ship weakened the entity. Our drone secured the core sample. The Titan-class vessel will perform containment destruction. Lyra gasped. Containment destruction? That sounds dangerous. The Admiral cut her off. It is. Then he added something that made the entire station go silent. If we fail, your sector must be evacuated. The creature will regenerate. Lyra felt every drop of blood drain from her face. Regenerate, she whispered. It can come back? Commander Jorak looked at her with grim eyes. That explosion didn't kill it. It only wounded it. Outside, the Titan-class dreadnought began to unfold massive plates on its sides. Engines dimmed. The glowing runes brightened like rising suns. "It's charging something," Lyra said quietly. "Something huge." The Terran drone drifted toward the dreadnought, still holding the fragment. Robotic arms reached out from the Titan-class ship, locking the drone and pulling the containment sphere into a deeper chamber inside the hull. The fragment screamed, sending dark ripples through space. Even the monitors trembled. Lyra shivered. "It's angry." "No," Jorak corrected softly. "It's afraid." The Titan-class ship sealed the containment chamber. Lights turned red around the edges. A deep rumble shook the surrounding space. The Admiral's voice echoed again. "All Terran ships hold formation. Do not let anything escape." Behind him, another voice spoke quickly. "Admiral, the fragment is resisting. Pressure rising. We need to initiate the field now." "Do it," Varric replied. A blinding light burst from the Titan-class ship. Waves of blue energy rolled outward. Space bent inward around the chamber like a black hole forming inside the ship's heart. Operation Dawnbreaker had begun. Lyra had never heard of such a thing. Neither had Jorak. Neither had the Council. "What are the humans doing?" Lyra asked, her voice barely a whisper. Jorak watched the light grow stronger. Something they probably never wanted to use. The energy pulse intensified. Every alarm in the station screamed, "Commander!" Someone shouted, "We can't keep this up. If their device overloads, it will tear a hole in space." But the Terran ships held position, forming an iron wall around the Titan class. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, panic spread again. Counselor Marith shouted, "If their plan fails, our entire region will collapse." The Avalari elder shook her head. "Watch the humans. They never use such power without certainty." Back in space, the Titan-class ship reached maximum charge. The Admiral's voice came through one last time. "Dawnbreaker in final phase. Stand ready." The energy field closed suddenly, as if snapping shut like a trap. A thunderous flash swallowed the center of the ship. Space screamed. "The fragment," shrieked. The field collapsed, and then everything went quiet. Too quiet. Lyra stared at the scanner. "Commander, yes?" "The fragment. It's gone." A wave of relief washed through the station, but Jorak didn't smile. "Wait." The scanners picked up something else, a faint pulse, a signal. "Human." The Terran drone had one last message. "Dawnbreaker successful." New threat detected. Coming from the other side, Lyra froze. Other side of what? The scanner flashed red. Another tier detected. Multiple signals approaching fast. Jorak whispered the words no one wanted to hear. "There is more than one creature." Border Station 7 was still shaking from the final pulse of Operation Dawnbreaker when the new alarm exploded across every screen. Red warning lights lit up the command room like a burning forest. Lyra stared at the scanner, unable to blink. "Commander." "This can't be right." Jorak stepped beside her. "Tell me what you see." She swallowed hard. "A second tier. 10 times larger than the first. And it's opening fast." The room went silent. Officers froze in panic. Everyone knew the humans had risked everything to destroy one fragment of the creature. If an entire swarm was coming now, it could mean the end of the sector. Maybe the end of the galaxy. Jorak steadied his voice.
"Send the data to the Terran fleet immediately." Lyra hit the transmit key.
But something strange happened. The Titan-class dreadnought responded before she finished sending. A deep, rumbling voice echoed across their speakers. "This is Admiral Varric. Border Station 7, fall back. We are engaging." Jorak blinked. "Engaging what?" The Admiral replied with only 2 words. "The full nest." The tier split open like a wound in the sky. Violent waves of dark energy spilled outward. And then it came out, not one creature, not 10. Countless. Shadows with armored limbs, glowing cracks across their bodies, floating like silent ghosts. Their movements were slow but terrifying, as if each one carried the weight of stars inside it. Lyra gasped.
"Commander?"
"There are hundreds," Jorak stared. "No, there are thousands." The Terran fleet immediately shifted into formation. The Titan-class dreadnought moved forward, placing itself between the creatures and the border station. Its glowing rune lines flared brighter than ever before. Behind it, the other Terran ships activated their heavy weapons, rail cannons, plasma torpedo tubes, gravity lances. The view outside looked like a silent battlefield frozen in anticipation. Admiral Varick's voice echoed across the station again. All Terran units. Shield phalanx. Full charge. Prepare for planetary scale breach, Lyra whispered. Planetary scale? That sounds like a world-ending attack. Jorak nodded grimly. It might be. Inside the Terran flagship, humans rushed through the corridors. Engineers shouted status updates. Weapons officers slammed energy cells into their mounts. Gravity fields hummed with unstable power. The Terrans were ready to die here, for everyone else. A young officer on the flagship called out, "Admiral, the creatures are scanning us." Varick narrowed his eyes. Let them. The creature swarm gathered into a formation of their own, an eerie, shifting wave of darkness. A deep vibration filled space like a chorus of nightmares humming in one voice. Then they attacked. Thousands of dark shapes shot forward, faster than missiles. The Titan-class dreadnought fired its main cannon, a beam so bright it cut through the void like a blade of sunrise. The blast tore through the front line of creatures, shattering them into pieces of dark smoke, but more rushed forward. A destroyer to the left side of the Terran fleet was hit. Its shields collapsed instantly. Dark limbs pierced through the hull. The ship went silent within seconds. Lyra covered her mouth. These things. They're killing Terran ships like nothing. But the Terrans did not slow down. They fired again. Plasma fire lit up the sky. Rail cannons cracked like thunder. Gravity lances folded creatures into collapsing balls of space. Still, the swarm kept coming. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, panic grew beyond control. We must retreat. No, help the humans. We cannot win against that many. The Avalari elder stepped into the center of the hall. Her glowing body shone brighter than usual. She spoke in a calm, steady voice. This is the first time in centuries that humans have asked for nothing and fought for everything. If we abandon them now, we are cowards. Counselor Marith looked at the battlefield feed. At the Titan-class dreadnought glowing like a burning mountain, at the smaller Terran ships sacrificing themselves without hesitation, he finally made his decision. Send every available Council fleet to the border. Evacuate civilian sectors. Prepare anti-rift weapons. Today, we stand with humanity. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council moved to defend humans instead of fear them. Back at the battle, Lyra watched the Council ships jump into the region. Cruisers, interceptors, heavy defense carriers. Dozens of species fought side by side, forming a defensive ring around the Terran dreadnought. The moment the reinforcements arrived, Admiral Varick's voice filled both fleets. Allied ships, form behind us. Humans will hold the front line. A council captain replied, "Human Admiral, we are here to help." Varick answered with a short, heavy breath. "Then stay alive." The second wave of creatures struck. Space turned into a storm of darkness and fire. Many ships died in the opening clash. Some creatures broke through the Terran shield wall and attacked the Council ships from behind. Lyra felt tears in her eyes as she watched. "Commander, they're all fighting together," Jorak nodded. "This is what humans do. They turn fear into courage, and strangers into allies." But the battle was still turning against them. The swarm kept growing. For every 10 creatures destroyed, 20 more emerged from the giant tear. Inside the Titan-class ship, alarms roared. Officers shouted over each other. "Admiral, reactor overheating. Shields at 20%. Main weapon offline." Varick steadied himself. "Then we use the last resort." His crew froze. "Sir, you mean?" "Yes." His face hardened. "Prepare the Star Core." Lyra checked her console as a massive energy spike appeared. "Commander, something huge is charging inside the Terran flagship." Jorak stared at the data. "No, they wouldn't." But they were. The Terran dreadnought prepared to activate a weapon no one had ever seen before. An artificial star, built inside the ship. The voice of a Terran officer came through the channel. "All forces. Clear the area. Star Core ignition in 90 seconds. Lyra's eyes went wide. "They're going to turn themselves into a star," Jorak whispered. "They will burn the entire swarm in one strike, even if it kills them." The Titan-class ship opened its hull panels. Blinding light gathered inside, hotter than anything the Council had ever measured. Creatures rushed forward to stop it. Terran ships used their bodies as shields, one after another, blocking every creature that tried to reach the flagship. They were dying to buy seconds. A voice came through the emergency channel. Calm but tired. This is Admiral Varric. To all Council worlds. Protect your people. The Star Corps reached critical everything. Trembled. The creatures screamed. The flagship glowed. Brighter. 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 And then, the universe went. White, a new sun was born in the border zone, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same.